everybody. My name is Emma Laube, and I'm the curatorial assistant for the Office of Academic Programs at the Allen Memorial Art Museum, where my colleagues and I usually draw in our collection of 15,000 objects to co-facilitate visits to the museum from Oberlin College and Conservatory professors and students. But these days, since we're all working from home, I'm coming to you live from my home office right here in Oberlin. This year, I organized an exhibition at the museum called Boredom Aesthetics, which presents 3 on-loan works of video art from the contemporary artist Zhāng Péilì. So today, I thought that I could walk you through some of my thoughts on 1 or 2 of the videos in the exhibition, just like we would do if we were in the museum together. If you're curious about information on any of the images that you see presented in this video, just hit pause at the end of the video where I'll include an image credit slide. Video art first developed in Europe and the US with the advent of broadcasting technology like the Sony Portapak, which was relatively portable and affordable. These advancements fostered developments both in broadcast television and for artists who wanted to work with moving images over more traditional modes like painting and sculpture in experimental creative circles. In China, however, video art developed on a somewhat different timeline. Video was generally used for documentary purposes rather than as an end unto itself, and the cameras that were used were often borrowed, largely from television stations. Although he trained as an oil painter in the early 1980s, as the decade wore on, Zhang grew increasingly disillusioned with the capacity of art to be socially radical. In the midst of increasing commercialization, he began his first forays into video art in the late 1980s with the patient's testing an unmarketable 30 by 30. The video records the artist's gloved hands as he continually breaks and repairs a mirror over 3 hours. The video was poorly received when it was first shown at a 1988 conference of artists and curators who demanded that Zhang fast forward through the 3 hours of repetitive footage. Zhang embraced the medium, however, and abandoned painting altogether in the mid-1990s. These early works from the 80s and 90s document monotonous actions through the repetition of gesture, suppression of narrative development, and lack of post-production editing. The videos on view and Boredom Aesthetics all belong to this early period in Zhang's body of work. One of the videos, Document on Hygiene Number 3, fixates on the artist's gloved hands as he bathes a live hen over the course of what was originally 150 minutes. The video, edited to about 25 minutes and shown with its sound removed, dates to 1991. When it was first shown that same year, Document was displayed as an installation. The format consisted of a platform from which 4 TV monitors played the same footage. In front of the monitors, Zhang positioned 9 rows of 11 bricks, which he has described as stools. This display context is notable for its spatial dimension, as the multiple screens and brick stools extend the work into the space of the viewing audience to evoke a communal TV watching experience. With its focus on the unusual and even strange act of bathing a chicken, Document is often interpreted as a satirical comment on national hygiene campaigns that the Chinese government promoted in the 1980s and 90s. This lens of political critique can provide one way to think about the video, but we can expand our reading by focusing on the presence of Zhang's gloved hands. The glove motif appears in many of Zhang's works across painting, video, and mixed media installations. In the 1980s, Zhang began his artistic career with large oil paintings that defamiliarized subjects such as athletes and musicians. We can see one example here entitled Enjoy Jazz from 1985. These works use well-blended brushstrokes, cool color palettes, and dramatic light and dark shades to evoke a sense of distance and sterility, as we can see in another 1985 painting entitled Midsummer Swimmers. In 1986, Zhang began to employ the same visual language in a series of paintings that depict rubber gloves floating in space. He had intended for this cycle, the X series, to consist of 100 works, all meant to depict rubber gloves and hospital chairs. In his childhood, Zhang spent considerable time in hospitals, partly because of his parents' medical professions and partly due to an illness that confined him to bed. He was hospitalized again in 1987 during a hepatitis outbreak. During these days, Zhāng was only touched by people wearing gloves, these articles that both allow you to and prevent you from making contact with other people. Zhāng has not explicitly pictured these experiences with illness. However, he has returned over and over in his work to rubber gloves, these objects that, now more than ever, simultaneously conjure up distance and closeness between people. Considering these personal bouts of illness, we can expand on the traditional analysis of document, which tends to read the video purely as political satire. Lately, I've been thinking about document in terms of the time that we afford to one another during periods of loneliness and poor health. Zhang isn't dealing with another person in the video, but in the act of bathing, he is attending with care to another living being. In these vulnerable times in which we currently live, I'm interested in this focus on attentiveness, protection, and the state of feeling secure. In document, these states of caring persist. Thanks for tuning in today, and we look forward to having you back in the museum whenever we next can. Take care.